So I decided to come back on, to talk to you guys about some of these social abnormalities that we experience every day. And it's why I do the videos I do. It's why I proclaim I love bad behavior. But I don't really love it. We're just posing this thing. So, I had a situation where I was in the store and I was in line, and these are those great experiences, folks, because I'm trying to show you that, and this will be a brief video, but I'm trying to show you that day-to-day interaction that we have with other people. Sometimes we're toxic and we don't even realize the ignorance when I talk about buying into something. That way of thinking, folks, self-serving behaviors. Doing what you feel in the moment, whether it conveniences another person or not, because you don't care. And that's the real, I try to make you understand when I reason that. It's a bottom line point to everything. It's as simple as that. Lower energy. But I'm in line, and there's a lady in front of me, and I think she was picking up some photos or something, this store I was in. And the clerk made it a point to, and this is part of that narcissism too, folks, where I talk about how a toxic narcissist will get on a job. It doesn't matter what the job is. In this case, it was a store or something. That printed photos. And this guy was in the store because he had just the authority of getting the photos from behind the counter. Just that little bit of foolishness, right? That little simple fact to the situation made him feel that he was over this lady. So this old lady was standing there trying to get her photos, and he was telling her that he, because what he did was as they were coming out, he went over and he put his hands in his pockets and he peeped over at her photos as they were coming out. And she said, "You don't have to do that. They're coming out, whatever." And he made a point to say something about, and they got into it because he was saying it was his job, or he had to look at her photos. And once I heard him say that, that got my attention, because I'm like, this is fucking foolishness. But the narcissist, folks, will say anything, right? And I talk about illogical stuff all the time. This is what I'm talking about. You got viewers come on here telling you sociopaths are good. Like this. Is this another example, a shining example of what I'm talking about? Where you're disenfranchised. I talked about the bizarro world mentality. This is like a piggyback to that video, folks, on the fly. Because here's another shining example of someone being disserviced and treated and shown discourtesy for no fucking reason other than the person having psychological problems. Not even being reasonable. There was nothing about this lady that spoke to me that she was doing some type of illegal act by printing her photos. Maybe that's a policy or something. And if you companies, you need to go back and review these things. I'm not going to name the company, but I'm just going to make a point that if you guys are doing this to customers, they're likely going to stop using your services. It's foolishness. You don't have a right to stand there and go through someone's photos with your eyes cocked, looking down and looking up at them and looking down at their photos, going through each one like you're the Department of Homeland Security or something. You just work in a fucking drugstore or something, making a couple of bucks an hour or something. And that little bit of authority makes you feel like you're on top of the world. And I've talked about this in many videos, folks, that fucking foolishness. It makes you want to jump across the counter. Like I said, I was getting upset. It wasn't even my situation. But I would hate to think about me getting into a situation with some fool behind my own personal security and privacy. Just like when I told y'all about these narc bosses that'll try to hack into your emails and stuff. These narcissists do not know about boundaries. And this is just another example of them crossing your boundaries. And when I say how it plays out in society, just like this, that lady was pretty pissed. I was pissed too, though. Because I'm thinking the next time I want to do something like this, maybe I go to a cookout or something, I don't need you standing there scrutinizing each of my photos. Meanwhile, the real people that you're talking about, maybe your next door neighbor or something, he's cooking up crystal meth or doing all kinds of shit, right? So I'm trying to show you folks that the average person is a fucking fool because you get them a little bit of authority and they're not able to discern how to use that authority, right? Which is why so many people in toxic workplace environments get to be your boss and there's something wrong with them. So if this guy was a manager, who would I go to if I had a concern? I'm showing you. There was another situation, reminds me though, when I think back some years back, I was trying to print some photos and I had a guy actually suggests that he take the photos and leave, and he'll call me back later. And I'm just at some 30-minute stop or something. You know how you get your photos, in seconds or something? And you're just at one of these kiosks, and the guy looks at your photos, and whether they're interesting or not, he feels that he wants to take your photos, and he's actually going to leave the location. Now, I want you to reason, folks, when I talk about when you need somebody to do something for you, they're not going to be there. The average person is a fucking fool in this regard. You get a flat tire, they're going to leave you on the highway. You get what I'm saying? Now, if you're fighting on the highway, you'll have a roadblock, right? You'll have cars jammed up because they're trying to see which one of y'all are throwing the most blows. Fools. So in this case, if my photos had gotten messed up, say I went through with the whole transaction, they had gotten messed up, this guy wouldn't have been willing to get in his car and drive anywhere. You get what I'm saying, folks? So you know that there's something wrong with the situation, and this is what I'm trying to get you to see about the bigger fight, because this is all tied in. When you're on this level, folks, there are energies that know who you are, and they're jumping into people, just like you've seen these movies and stuff. That movie with Denzel or something. You guys like pop culture references, but this is more serious than the fucking movie. It's what I'm trying to explain to you guys. On the levels that I deal every day, hey, great one. On the levels that I'm dealing every day, I understand that this is a bigger fight, folks. And the energies I'm attached to, there's an opposing force, folks, that many of you have locked into yourselves. So you're going down a road, folks. But the stuff that you do that's irrational, you don't even know why you're doing it, but I know it's a bigger fight. And when I went into this store, as soon as I saw the lady go up to the counter, I sensed and felt the energy, folks. Lower energies were all around me, and I sensed that. And that's the troubling thing about being a empath in this current society that we're living in. There's going to be a time when that's going to change, folks. But right now, that is the pain that you're dealt. Every day you have to be disserviced. Just think about that. You're going in there, you went to grandma's cookout or something, and you're going to print the photos off, and some creepy ass fucking guy behind the counter, because he doesn't have a life, and he attaches to these customers. This is his life. So everybody that comes in there, anyone who looks interesting to him, maybe a pretty lady comes in, maybe he wants to scrutinize all of your photos. You get what I'm saying, folks? Your privacy and security with these narcs. When they're given positions of authority, they will actually try to leverage themselves in these positions. Now, this lady could have called corporate, and I'm sure corporate wouldn't stand up and say that there are for going against people's privacy rights. You understand what I'm saying to you? This person was willing to take it to that level. This lady was much his senior with more common sense to him. He obviously didn't have any. But I'm showing you they'll get these jobs and use these things as opportunities, folks, to do certain things. Or maybe you have those neighbors on your block that are like Mrs. Kravitz on the old Bewitched series. I'm not glorifying these old demonic TV shows, folks, but I'm trying to make a point to you about your references. You have that neighbor who's so caught up in your life that they reason that something is wrong with you based on your actions. You're out in your yard, you're in nature or something. They may see you in some place, or you're doing something that they think is unusual because they're attaching to you. They don't even know you. But whatever you're doing, if it defines their reasoning, they will approach you and confront you. I've talked to you guys about people when I was in that garden, and the guy came up to me and asked me why was I looking at the leaves, and I'm looking at him like, huh? So if I needed you to help me rake these fucking leaves, where would you be? Do you understand what I'm saying, folks? The average person has a trivial mind and only interested in trying to get some sensation. You're fucking fools. But in every case, you have these people on these jobs, folks, these neighbors, these people that want to get in your lives and invade your lives. And if you remember that old Bewitched series, she would always peep out the window at Sam and Darren and them. And whatever they were doing, she would comment to her husband, who would tell her to shut up and sit down somewhere, mind her business. And she would be all in it and stuff and all nosy, and I know they're doing this or that and they're crazy and this and that. But then the funny thing, the joke of it, the irony of it, what made you laugh wasn't what Darren and Sam were doing across the street. It was the fact that you were looking at a fucking fool, a crazy ass fool. Talk about someone else be crazy, right? As you watch them display the most insane behaviors you've ever seen. You're concerned about some complete stranger whom you don't know. But because of they're in a certain vibrational level, and that's what I'm talking about, the thing that attracts you. When I get dealt, when people, lower energies come, I'm protected, folks, but I'm always in a fight with lower energy. I already picked this up. Anywhere I go, there's always a problem for no reason. And those are those energies, folks. You understand? So when you laughed at Mrs. Kravitz, you laughed at the foolishness of who she was as a person. But then you had to reason something. If they're putting it on TV, isn't this you? See, this is what I'm trying to show you, folks. They're showing you yourselves. So when they show you these commercials, right, where you're doing fuzzy cats and all of this dumb shit, they're showing you who you are, right? This is why you're in low vibration, folks, for many reasons. If I'm minding myself business, I'm walking somewhere, I'm talking to you in a video. It happened to me earlier today. I had some complete stranger following me as I'm doing a video. Who the fuck am I, Michael Jackson or something? Do you understand what I'm saying to you folks? Now, if someone knocked me upside my head and I was screaming for help, that wouldn't happen. But if someone knocked me upside my head and I was screaming for help or something, I would have to run up to that person and hold on to them to get them to listen to me, right? I would have to voice my concerns to them to get them to give me a minute of their time, the average person. But in trivial ways, folks, this is who you are, right? And I'm showing you, I'm just showing you. When you're frustrated, you go into that place. Just think about that, and I'm gonna just wrap this up. Because this is why we started this. You're in the store and you're getting photos. Or you're getting anything. You're doing something. You women, you're over in the lingerie department or something. You're buying underwear or something. Right? Just imagine if the clerk, just imagine if it was a man or something came up to you while you were looking at bras or looking through something, and he cocked the eye up and said, "Oh, what size are you?" You understand what I'm trying to explain to you folks? And then with reason, well, I work in this department, so I have a right to ask you about your bra size. Do you understand what I'm saying? The narcissist is a fucking fool, folks. And I told you there will come a day when we will turn to our low-level narc neighbors and each of them get punched in the face. If we started doing that, would they really think about what they're doing going forward? Right? If they knew there was some immediate consequence, a nice fist, a nice juicy punch in the mouth, would that stop the narcissist in their tracks? I doubt it, because then they would use that in some form of victimhood. They're crazy folk. So when I rail about this stuff and I'm frustrated every day, if I'm working a job and I'm dealing with it on the job and I can't just get a paycheck, if I'm fucking going in the store trying to buy a soda and the guy's picking his nose and he's grabbing every soda in front of me, why does he have a right to do that? See, when you're not asking that, folks, you're the crazy fuckers. You get it? Okay? Just think about it. You folks going over to my website, thinkbehavior.info, pick up my book, I Love Bad Behavior, just like this, right? All the time. You can like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and I do appreciate the new subscriptions, folks. You have a great day. We'll be on to talk about something more important in the next video. But I just had to get on here real quick and just enlighten you on this. If some of you are doing this, cut this shit out. One day you're going to get that swift one, And it's going to come unexpectedly. Y'all take care.